Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Josh here, coming at you with a little bit of a different type of video today. And today I wanted to just kind of make a fun video talking about my top 10 favorite Dragon type Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So, without any further ado, let's just jump into this video. So at number 10, we have FiveHeaded Dragon. I just think this card is insane. It's like one of the strongest, in terms of attack at least, it's like one of the top strongest fusion cards in the game, and it looks awesome. I just remember seeing this card in the anime for the first time and freaking out. It's got 5,000 attack and defense, and it can basically only be destroyed by if it battles a light monster. And I don't know, I've always liked dark dragon type cards, and a lot of these cards on this list are dark dragons, and I don't know, I've just always thought dragon type cards in general have been awesome, and I had to put this card on the list. And on top of that, the art is just insane as well. At number 9, we have Blueeyes Ultimate Dragon. I mean, it's a fusion of 3 Blueeyes cards, and again, it's just a classic dragon card. And Kaiba is one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character. And again, I just remember seeing him bring it out on the show and freaking out. And then when they finally printed it, I just had to go get a copy. I actually still have it. I have the secret rare copy from the Shonen Jump promo, and it's just one of my favorite cards. And I don't know, very nostalgic too. And it's one of the most iconic cards too, I would say. And sitting at number 8, we have Dragon Master Knight. So we had Blueeyes Ultimate, but now Black Luster Soldier is basically riding him, controlling him, and just being badass. So I had to put Dragon Master Knight on there. Again, it's a huge fusion card with 5,000 attack, and it's just awesome. And we'll throw it back to the show as well, when Kaiba and Yugi teamed up and they were able to bring out, 2 of their most iconic monsters, and they combined, and it was just awesome. So now sitting at number 7, we have Red Dragon Archfiend. One of the most iconic synchro cards, I would say. And just like Kaiba, I really, really like Jack Atlas. I used to also, when fusions, or when synchros first came out, I actually had a dragon deck, and bringing out Red Dragon Archfiend was like one of my biggest plays, and he's kind of like my signature card back in the day. I was younger, and I didn't really pay attention to the meta and that kind of thing, but I did just like to make fun decks. One of them was a dragon deck, and then once synchros came out, I of course had to play Stardust and Archfiend. But I just think Red Dragon Archfiend is awesome looking, and I really liked playing him back in the day. At number 6, we have Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This card was actually like the main dragon card in that same dragon deck with Red Dragon Archfiend. It was filled with Red Eyes and other dragon support and totem dragons and just stuff like that. And I don't know, it was a fun deck. It wasn't super competitive, but I enjoyed playing it. And Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon is just so cool, not only in terms of artwork, but it can be used in a lot of different dragon decks, and it doesn't see as much play nowadays, but it's still really good. And the fact that we do see more Red Eyes and Blue Eyes support even now is really cool. So I definitely had to put Red Eyes on there, at least the Darkness Metal Dragon. But shout out to all the Red Eyes cards, really. Sitting at number 5, we do have Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. So, kind of hand in hand with Darkness Metal Dragon. It's just an awesome looking card. It's a great generic rank 7 Exceed card. I mean, it's really good with. I threw it in my Cosmo deck when Cosmos were really popular. It's just awesome. Really, really good to have. You can throw it in Dark Magicians, which I have in there as well. Again, the artwork is sick, and another reason it's on there is I bought a couple packs that this card was in, and I remember I pulled a Ghost Rare, which that's the only time I've ever pulled a Ghost Rare. All the other Ghost Rares I've had or currently have, I've traded for or bought. But I just remember freaking out because I pulled Flare Metal Dragon in a pack. And then a couple weeks later went by, picked up a couple more packs, and I pulled an Ultimate Rare version. So I have both of those. They're in my binder. Not for trade. I have a special binder just with cards I like, and those 2 copies are in there, and I had to put this guy at least top 5. It was hard to put this list together, but Flare Metal Dragon, he's pretty up there, and he's awesome. At number 4, we have Rainbow Dark Dragon. So, a little bit of a throwback there. I really, really, really like regular Rainbow Dragon. If I could do like a top 15, he would be on there for sure, but I was limited for space. But with Rainbow Dark Dragon, I just remember when the Phantom Darkness set came out and there were all these dark versions of current cards, and I thought that was such a cool idea. Now they kind of did that with the Light Sworns recently, making them into the Twilight Sworns and stuff, but that was like an archetype. The Phantom Darkness is just like kind of random cards that they all turned into like dark or evil, and I thought that was so cool. And then a friend of mine pulled a Rainbow Dark Dragon, and I traded it. I got a Dark Lord Zerato, and it was again from the same set and stuff, and we just did a secret rare for secret rare. I really wanted his Rainbow Dark Dragon, and he wanted my Dark Lord Zerato, so it was a perfect trade. I still have that card today. It's a first edition, and I just think that's so awesome that Rainbow, Dragon turned evil, or became dark, however you want to look at it. And I definitely had to put that card up there just because I then splashed it into my kind of dark dragon themed deck that I was running at the time, and it became just one of my favorite cards instantly. So we have that, and for number 3, we have Dark Arm Dragon. I mean, come on. Dark Arm Dragon, similar with Rainbow Dragon, where Arm Dragon became like evil and dark, and Teledad and Dad Return. It led into all of those crazy decks. And that was also kind of around the time I was really getting into the game, like competitively. I just remember building different Teledad variants at the time, and Dark Arm Dragon was awesome. It was also super expensive. I just remember being able to trade quite a bit of cards for a secret rare version at the time, and then when it finally was reprinted as a gold rare, I was able to get the other copies I needed through that. But I just remember buying a ton of Phantom Darkness packs at the time, and then I was able to trade for a secret rare version, which I still have, and I think I have for sure one of the gold rares. But since then it's been reprinted, and again, it doesn't see that much play nowadays, but it really impacted me when I first started the game, and I just thought Dad Return was like one of the craziest decks ever, because I was really starting to understand the meta and like how those top decks worked. And once I realized how awesome like Dad Return and then eventually Teledad was, I was like, this changes everything. I gotta get into this, and I was lucky enough to be able to build the deck after a long time. But yeah, so for number 3, Dark Arm Dragon. Number 2, pretty much right next to Dark Arm Dragon, I put Judgement Dragon. Just because Judgement Dragon, again, so I was into the Teledad format, and Light Sworns then were coming out and were a thing back then too. And they were kind of like rival decks because you had like, one was all filled with darks, and then the Light Sworns were obviously all lights. And so it was like, okay, you know, do I run Teledad? Do I run Light Sworns? I actually then got rid of a lot of my higher end cards like that, like the Secret Dark Greffers and like Malicious and Destiny Draw, when those only had one printing. I actually did end up trading most of that for Light Sworn stuff back in the day. I got first edition Secret Judgment Dragons and Charges. I wish I still had those because they're worth quite a bit now, but unfortunately I don't. But I still have all the reprinted versions, which is fine. But I was able to build Light Sworns like completely, and I actually took that deck to, I forget the year, but it was Minneapolis Nationals, and I was actually doing the like the last chance regional qualifiers because I lived right not even 2 hours from Minneapolis. So I was like, I'm gonna go to this regional, or to the nationals. I still need my regional invite. I might get lucky and make it, but I just wanted to go and experience it. And anyways, so I went there with my Lightsworn deck. Unfortunately, I did not top in the regionals. I was still fairly young. I was in my early teens, so I mean, you know, I still most likely misplayed, but it was just so cool going there, trying out the Lightsworn deck really for like one of my first times, because not many people played where I lived, and seeing all the YouTubers and at the time that were popular. Some of them are still around today, some of them aren't, but Judgement Dragon, back on topic. Judgement Dragon is just such a good card. It still sees play today, and it's at 3. It nukes the field, and I mean, it's just so good. It is such a good card, and definitely one of the coolest dragon type cards out there. Stay tuned, because I actually do have a current version of Lightsworns that I'm playing for Link format, because I do really think it's going to be used a lot more now that Links are out. I mean, it still has some awesome cards you can use from the extra deck, but you can still win purely just with the main deck, especially because you have the 3 Judgment Dragons. So that's my number 2 card. Sorry about the getting off topic there. But for number 1, this is probably no surprise. We have Blueeyes White Dragon. Now, some of you might think it's cliche or cheesy that I picked Blueeyes. It's kind of generic, but I think it's an obvious choice. So, in terms of how I feel about Blueeyes, I mean, it's one of the original cards. The first Yu-Gi-Oh product I ever got was a Kaiba starter deck with the original Blueeyes in it. I still have that exact Blueeyes in my special binder that I just won't trade, just because it's my very first card. I got that probably when I was like 10, maybe younger. Whenever those decks first came out, those starter decks, I got into it, of course, because of the show too, and Kaiba's like one of my favorite characters, and that original art Blueeyes is still to this day one of the best artworks. And the other reason I put Blueeyes at number 1 is not only is he one of the first original cards, but I mean, he is still getting support today, and the Blueeyes deck is like still really, really, really good. I mean, last year it was super popular, and I still play my Blueeyes Chaos Max version. I'll probably do an updated version of that on this channel too, just because with Links, I think the Blueeyes deck is definitely a thing that we'll be seeing more of, just because again it doesn't really rely on the extra deck, but all of the cards in the deck are insane. I mean, you have Blueeyes Spirit and Crystal Wing and Azure Eyes, just all these heavy hitting, huge, awesome dragon type monsters, but the whole deck itself is based around the original Blue-Eyes White Dragon. And then on top of that, you have all the cool stone cards, and then like the spellcasters like the Sage and the Maiden, and just like all the artwork on those cards, and the kind of, not really the lore, but just like, I don't know how to explain it, like the support for those cards, like you know, the artwork and everything, they're all Blue-Eyes related. Sage with all the blue, you know, on him and stuff, and that's representing Blue-Eyes. I think that's just so awesome. And I don't know, Blue-Eyes White Dragon had to be my number one, although putting this list together in general was super tough. And I tried to base it off of more so just personally what cards I like. Some of them are competitive still, some of them used to be competitive, some of them were never competitive. So, you know, this list isn't about like the strongest dragon cards in the game, because there's definitely other ones that would be on here. This is just more so what I personally like throughout the years of me playing and collecting, and you know, why I kind of ranked them the way I did. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's kind of a longer video and just something I kind of wanted to make. I'd love to hear down below what either your favorite card is or what your favorite type of card is. And if you're interested in, you know, me doing I was thinking about doing like my top 5 or 10 synchro cards and exceeds, that kind of thing. Maybe spellcasters, because there's a lot of cool ones on there. Feel free to let me know if you'd watch something like this in the future. But anyways, guys, I just wanted to say thanks for watching again. If you did enjoy this, hit that subscribe and like button. That would really help me out, and I'll speak with you soon. Thanks for watching again, and peace out.